Here we go. What's up, y'all? It's your man, Lance Woods. I'm here at Only Gold Metal Studios talking to my man, my brother, BrixxIsKing. What up?
My dog.
So look.
My dog.
We're only here for one reason. We're here to talk about Faris 2.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you heard Faris 1, this one is like taken to another level. I always wonder this for artists too. When you name an album Part 2. Mm-hmm. Right, because I'm sure you had a bunch of different names that you thought about, but why did you choose to stick with the Faris name? And what were some other albums, titles that you had in mind, unless it's something you might use later?
Well, so the other title I had is something I am going to use later. So for instance, like West Side Gun, he has like the Hitler tapes, right? But he has other projects in between. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, this could be my consistent thing. Like people might want to look forward to the Faris projects. So let me just kind of keep that thing going. And of course, the horses are a big part of like my muse, my energy, right? So another title I had, I'm gonna use it is Remember Oliver Lewis. Oliver Lewis was a black jockey who won the Kentucky Derby, the very first one. And it's important just because it's about keeping black people's history with certain things that we might be detached from now, right? So like with music, right? We invented rock and roll, but they'll make you think it's Elvis, but there's Chuck Berry and all these people before that who they stole the sauce from. So same thing, like we got a history with horse. People like, yo, why this nigga always got horses and shit? Well, we come from that. Like the first cowboys were black. That's the only job slaves can get.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Nah, man, like them niggas ain't real enough to do this.
Okay.
Yeah. Nah, but yeah, like the first Cowboys were black. No. But they don't want to tell us that. You know, and that's what like, now you see like the Compton Cowboys in LA and there's the Cowboys in Philly. So we have this rich history, and for me, horses are just like the muse. So Remember Oliver Lewis was going to be the title, but I was like, nah, let me keep the Faris thing going. Because I want that to just be the branding. Like, merch everything is just Faris. You hear that word, you hear that name, you know it's Bricks. So.
Yeah, you know. Now, I actually heard that when was it Magnificent Seven or Hateful Eight, the Denzel Cowboy movie?
Yeah.
Magnificent. But then the other one was the Idris Elba on the Netflix one.
Yeah, that one's fire.
It was like all black cowboy stuff. And then when I'm watching those movies, I hear people talking about like, no, this is real history about like black cowboys. Mm. But what does the name Faris have to do with horses?
So Faris is Arabic for a knight or a horseman or a cavalryman. So it's like just a man on a horse, essentially, but in Arabic.
Aha.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know. I thought it was like Ferris Bueller. I ain't finna get into all that. Yeah. So on this album, like, so look, is episode 622.
Yes, sir.
The first song.
Yep.
Now the album starts off with Parks from the Joe Budden podcast.
Shouts to Parks.
Previewing you and Marcus's song.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about how did that happen with them previewing your music on the Joe Budden podcast, and I want to hear about what that meant to you when that happened, because that's like a big deal. It's like, especially when you are trying to get your music out there and you get it on such a large platform.
Yeah.
But yeah, just you talk about it.
I really do believe in manifestation. I really do, because since I got back into music, like I took, I took a long break. When I got back into it, I put certain goals out, and that was one of them.
When you say that was one of them, what was one of them?
Getting on the Joe Budden podcast.
In the form that you got on?
Yeah, getting played as a sleeper. Shouts to Parks. Shouts to Maney too. Back when we did Lo-Fi, I sent it to Parks, and he liked it, and he followed me. He was always, had a good relationship. Like, not like my best friend, but like on Twitter and stuff, he was always cool. He always talked to me and stuff. When me and Marcus did You're Unknown, I sent it to him. I didn't know he was gonna. We always send music. I'm getting up to go to the gym. I'm like, it's Saturday morning, it's pod time, so I'll get on there and look. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, I remember. I remember that morning. I just happened to be in town for the morning, and I seen the thing, and I was like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah, because Lance is my brother for real, like, and so like he knows the whole story of everything going back to when we was kids. So what did you think?
When I woke up, I seen it online, and then the group texts and things started happening. Yeah, and I seen it, and I didn't really even know what it was, because it was just you had posted a clip from Joe Budden podcast, and I don't really watch a lot of podcasts in general.
Yeah.
So I was just like watching. Then when I heard them talking about you, I was like, oh, and then I just started looking at it, and then it wasn't just that. It was I'm watching everybody on the podcast bob their head to it and hit the gunshots and all that. I'm like, oh, they really are enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know, so that I took it like, yo, this is a big moment because there's a difference between I didn't know about you and Parks' relationship. I don't know nothing about that. I know now, but I didn't know that how it started and all of that stuff. But when I'm watching it, a relationship can get you on the show. He can play your music because he know you. The relationship can't make the rest of the crew bob their head.
Right.
It's not gonna make them hit gunshots. It's not gonna. That's not relationship. That's people genuinely enjoying the music.
That was the part to me. That's like total transparency, bro. Like, so when it happened, I skipped to it. I didn't even listen to the pod. I was like, oh shit, we on here. So I skipped to the sleeper section and played it. I'm like, wow. So Joe is like, you know, he's doing all that. Ice is showing love. So then I went back and listened to the actual pod. And, you know, I'm a big Capone Noriega fan. So that episode, Joe played T-O-N-Y, was one of my favorite songs ever. And he's hitting the gunshots on that. And it was emotional for me because my favorite music and shit that influenced me to even make music was getting the same reaction that my music was getting on that platform, bro. That was like everything to me. Because that's, to me, man, like, being a fan makes me a better artist. I'll never not be. I posted the other day on my story what Kanye said one time, man, always be a student. And I'll never get out of student mode. I'm always looking at the people who guided me and even people who are my peers. And so that for me was like a full circle thing because even Ice was like, yo, that's not even my bag, but that shit was hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, see, I'm even getting people who are not even, you know, so that's not, okay, I'm humbly, I felt like, okay, I'm as good as I thought I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was major. So I had to start the album off with that because that was just one of the biggest things that happened since my last project. So
for sure. And I think it is something that you should keep doing. Forever remain a student. And a student in a sense is a fan. You know, if you are a student of something, that means you are willing to learn from it, which means you have to take an interest to it, which means you have to look up to it.
Yeah.
To be a student from it. Once you feel like you got it all, then you can't learn from nothing.
That's
no
a
more.
fact.
So with that, because you mentioned Kanye, and you know you're rapping and you know producing. So who would you say are your biggest influences in general, and your biggest influences on this project in particular?
Like my biggest influence overall, like music-wise, I mean, you know, like Michael Jackson is everything. It's nothing without Mike. So
rest in peace, Tito.
Rest in peace to Tito, man. Without Mike, none of this, I wouldn't even have the thought to even want to make any kind of anything. Rest in peace to the GOAT.
Tito.
Nas is my favorite rapper of all time. Kendrick, Hove, Rakim, Pac, that's really my top five. So like those artists, and then as a producer, but you know the beats is first for me. Like I rhyme because I like most producers. We all rap because we rap as much as the rappers do, because when you make a beat, you got to rap to it to see what the energy is, and so my blade is always pretty sharp because I'm always rapping anyway, and so.
That means his rhymes are ready to go.
Ready to go, man. So it's like, you know, of course, Kanye, Pharrell, DJ Quick, Warren G, Havoc, RZA, like Alchemist, like, and then Alchemist, you know, I started making beats. The three producers that made me want to like go from being just being a fan to wanting to learn how to do it, I call them my holy trinity. Is Alchemist, Just Blaze, and Kanye. Those are the three. But on this album, like Hit Boy was a big influence on, you know, what I was doing, Cardo, guys like that, and then just my own sauce, of course, and then just, you know, just having, you know, you want to make something that's cohesive, but also kind of show your range at the same time. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the battle, was just like trying to make something that what people enjoy from me, and then also other they might not have heard, and then they're just kind of making it all make sense together without making it sound all over the place. And that's always the dance, is doing that.
Yeah. So you mentioned your holy trinity of producers, and you mentioned Alchemist. Mm-hmm. And I know that you just met Alchemist for the first time.
Yeah.
I know what it was.
Another manifestation that I had.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, but I know what it was like when I met certain people for the first time. Mm-hmm. What was it like for you? And I mean, this is just a total fan moment, or it could be something more for you. I don't know. But what was it like for you when you met Alchemist? Like, where was it? How did it happen?
Yeah, so shouts to Big Twins from Infamous Mob. And we went to, he had a show in LA, and it was dope. Planet Asia, Big Noid from the Infamous. Shouts to Noid.
Can't fuck with Noid.
Man,
and I shoot 'em up.
So Noid.
I've been in that joint like this.
I was like, and that'd be the ill thing too, though. Like sometimes, you think about all the super famous rappers who you're a fan of, but sometimes it's the people who are not as commercially known that you really be like, damn, I really get to see my guy. And it was one of those nights. And then of course Alchemist, Mobb Deep, the whole connection. So Al was the headliner at the show. It was so Twin and Noid and them was on stage, and then Manny was like, he like, bro, Al right there. I'm like, where? I figured he might be in the back somewhere, but he was just, so I looked like, oh shit. I'm like, bro, let's go.
Yeah. Was you nervous?
Nah, I wasn't nervous. I was like, this has to happen. This is part of the reason why I'm here. This is part of my thing. I'm like, yo, Al's there. He needs to. So I'm like, here, take my phone. So then as I'm walking over there, his like bodyguard dude was in front of him. So I tapped him like, yo, can I, say what up to Al, get a pic or whatever. He was like, he didn't say nothing. He just kind of went like this, like to follow us. So we kind of went over, and he tapped him again. Al turned, he's like, and then Al, I tapped him. I was like, yo, it was funny because I don't remember what I said. I was kind of like, yo, you fucking best, and
you might have proposed. You don't know what you did.
Like, yo, and so, man, so took the flick, dapped it up, and it's still surreal. I be thinking, I'm like, damn, because there's not many times you can really say you met like one of your heroes. That don't happen every day. Like you meet people you like, or like the nigga that really. I remember the first time I heard "Get At Me" that he did on the Infamy album from Mobb Deep, which is one of the beats that made me want to make beats. And the fact that I was right there with the person who did that, man, that shit was everything. So,
did you get a chance to tell him any of those things, or was it too much? It was
too much going on.
Yeah.
But again, I know it's gonna happen again though. Next time it's gonna be a real conversation.
Yeah.
So
that'd be the dopest thing when you meet people who influence you like that, and you get a chance to tell them. Because one of the things that happen is everybody is kind of running their race and doing their thing, and they don't even know something. They're not even conscious of some of the things.
Yeah.
And then you tell them, and they be like, "Really?"
Yeah.
And there's a good chance. You said the Get Active beat.
Mm-hmm.
Turn up.
Get At Me, yeah.
Get At Me, yeah.
That one, yeah.
I'm thinking Get Active is you and Manny.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to Get At Me, turn up. That's Get At Me, yeah.
Yep.
There's a chance that he hates that beat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't know.
I almost deleted it, and
there's
Prodigy
a chance
was like, yo,
Prodigy was like, no, I need that. He's like, you want this? And here, like, get this beat away from me.
Yeah.
And then that's the beat that inspired you. And then there's a chance that you got a beat that you hate, and that's inspiring somebody over here who don't want to do it, but then they heard you was like, yo, I think I can. So you talked earlier about the break you took, because I remembered. I'm gonna let you tell the story, but you was pursuing music, and then didn't at all for I don't know how many years. I mean, so what has that been like, getting back into it versus when you started before? Like, what differences do you see? Obviously, with the internet, it's a whole different way of even doing it. But, I mean, what's different for you in terms of your approach, your goals? What do you want out of it this time?
Yeah, it's I feel like for the type of music that I love and I want to make, I think being in it now is better than what it would have been back in 04, 05, whatever. Because back then, right, we remember like back then it was radio was still heavy. Mm-hmm. It was, you still got to do, you might make a record. You got to make your record for the ladies. You got to make your record for the South, your West Coast record. It was a lot of formulaic shit going on. And nowadays, everything is, because of the internet, you can make it more niche. Like you can find and you can zero in on.
You can find your audience.
You can zero in
or
on
let your audience find you.
Word. So it's like, and there's plenty of examples of, different artists doing that and how to do it. So I think that's the biggest thing. And I feel like now I can really be me. And I'm older, and so I'm even more comfortable in who I am as a person and an artist. So you think you're ready. And I felt like I was ready back then, honestly. I feel like I could have done whatever needed to be done back then. But now I can really just lock in on what I want to do. And I can find the people that want it. And there's a blueprint. So I think that's super fly. And so I'm really enjoying it. The difference is now, like, I have a family now. So, so you got to, like, adjust to that. Like, you have to be conscious of, like, trying to balance the artist life with the family life and, all that kind of stuff. So that's something, but it's working. And so it's dope.
Yeah. Do you feel like because you have a family now, your goals have changed as far as what you want out of music now, or is it the same?
It's the same because again, like for me, and it sounds cliche and corny, but it's really real. Like I really make music to be great. I make music to be dope, and I feel like when you do that, it's funny, man. I've always felt like we might have talked about this before, like over the years, but sometimes you get positive reinforcement from people like who've done it, right? LL Cool J said the same thing the other day. He was on Hot 97, and he was like, man, like, if you do it right, that shit'll come. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of that's how I always felt about it. Even like playing ball and stuff when you're younger. When I wanted to grow up and go to the NFL, I didn't go to the NFL thinking I want to go buy a house. I just wanted to be Joe Montana. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm good, nigga, I can do whatever if I'm as good as Joe Montana. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the process for me. So it's still the same. I want to be great, and if I'm great, I'll get paid. Yeah, and then I can do things with my family, and that whole thing. So my goals is still the same. It's the same blueprint. It's the same process.
So your goal in it is, I feel like I have this gift. This gift is great. I just want to share this great gift with the world. And the more I do it, the more y'all gonna see it, and the more y'all see it, the more it's gonna come back that this is great, and the money's gonna come from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny because there's not a lot of artist development left in anything.
Right.
In any form of creativity, like it's like right now we need the thing. We don't live in a generation of greatness. We live in a generation of content.
Yeah. No,
we just need content.
Right.
Content. So what do you think about trying to apply an older way of thinking in terms of creativity? And for example, you are an album person. Mm-hmm. Like, you want the project. I want y'all to hear my album from beginning to end. I put these songs in order for this way.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't want you to just pick off a playlist and do that. I mean, do what you do, but I structured it this way for a reason.
Yeah.
So how do you approach making greatness in a content microwave playlist era?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I feel like the people I make music for want the same thing out of the music. The people I make music for are looking for the same thing in the artist. Okay. So the people I make music for want albums. They want that kind of thing. They want somebody,
because people still do want that.
Yeah,
there's not like it doesn't exist. You just have to find the audience.
At the end of the day, I feel like, great albums still get celebrated when they come out. Like, look at Doechii, right? She just dropped, and that album is fire. People are talking about her album, and they're talking about a single. They say that album Doechii just dropped is fire. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so it's still there, right? People still have the conversations about who has a classic, who doesn't, like, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, people still, like, the top artists, the albums still matter for them.
It definitely still exists. I'm just really wondering, how do you approach it in this climate? Because it exists, it for sure exists, but the approach is different now.
Yeah.
The approach is much different now, you know. So, and I'm really asking because I'm in the content thing too. So I'll be putting stuff together, and I'll be like for instance, I was telling my partner the other day, he was asking me like, should he post this video? And I said, yeah, I didn't even watch it. He said, yeah, bro, post it.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, but I said, listen, man, people are gonna watch this on the toilet. Post the video, man.
Yeah.
Like you're putting a lot of thought into a video that people are not going to put that kind of thought into when they watch it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of more of what I'm asking is like, how do you approach it knowing that people may not even listen to things the same way as they used to?
Yeah, that part I haven't totally figured out, honestly.
Yeah.
Because then that goes into trying to make things more easily consumed. So how do I like a song like a song on my album, Rent Due Interlude, my dude Ricky, right? Shout out to Ricky Mapes. Like, I feel like one of my favorite songs, because I put on the end of the song, I put like this real lush, beautiful sample at the end when it kind of plays like a.
Yeah.
I need people to hear that whole thing. Now you gotta sit there for this, but I could put it into make a reel, and because I want to, where he's rhyming because he's killing that shit, but to me it's part of the whole art piece, and I haven't figured out how to make sure people get that whole art piece. I haven't figured that out. Yeah. And that's the thing too. Sometimes you don't know all the answers. You know what I'm saying? And right now I feel like I don't have all the answers for that. I just hope people really just want that whole piece of art. You know what I'm saying? And then trial by error.
You got to try it out. But even stuff like this, like even you talking about that will make people say, well, let me listen to it.
Yeah.
Because there's still a human element behind the artist. This is just my thought process. This is just me talking now. There was a time when there was a celebrity up here and then the fans were somewhere else.
Right.
Now everything is so mixed together. It's all my fans got fans. Yeah. So it's like there is no more artist up here. It's like, no, they want to know you. Yeah. It's like, there's so many artists, whether it be comics, rappers, singers. I had no idea what they did, and I knew who they was for months. Yeah. Months I didn't know what they did. Yeah. But I would just see them talking. Mm-hmm. They would be doing different podcasts or different pieces of content, and then you make a decision. Oh, I like her. Yeah. What she do? I don't know. Yeah. I like her. Yeah. You know what I mean? What he do? I don't know. He funny though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then you find out he a rapper. Right. You know what I mean? And then like the crossover thing, it's like I know people personally who've never heard of Vince Staples' song that love the show. Right. It's like, so because they like the show, they might go back and listen to his music and say, oh, I like this too. Yeah. And they might give it a different listen than they would have if it was just a rapper.
Just a rap song, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I think that's the thing that has to be figured out for all of us is like, okay, how do we get people to lock into us? Mm-hmm. Because, the music, the jokes, all that could be great, but if they not locked into you.
Yeah, because I need to figure that, because holding the phone up and just making content is not my bag. And I need to learn, because sometimes you got to figure that out. That's why, like, something like this is more comfortable. It's
I mean, but all of this stuff works. You know what I mean? Like, and like even.
But it's not always easy to get a setup and do interview every time you want to say something.
I mean, listen, you got to come to Only Gold Medal Studio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You got to have something like Only Gold Medal set up, and everybody ain't got that kind of setup. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you got to holler at Natho. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, man. You know what I mean? That's how I got to go. But all of those things help. Like, regardless of what everything counts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even you saying, I don't really even have that figured out. There's a lot of people that's looking at that like, man, I like him, man. That's like vulnerable. That's honest. I want to listen. I want to support that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that we don't even think about. Yeah. But the place that we in right now, this is just my opinion, just from what I'm looking at. People just want to buy into the person. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, you talking about being on Joe Budden's podcast. He's a bigger artist now than he's ever been.
That's a fact.
You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
Like, and he was one of the best lyricists we've ever heard.
Yeah.
And nobody locked in as much as they have with him on a podcast.
Yeah.
And what he's doing podcasting is costing people a lot more to support him than an album would.
That's a fact.
You go buy the album
For $12 and was there. Now you gotta pay that every month just to hear him
pay
talk.
every month to hear him talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if you was going to live shows and buying merch, he's still getting this from you every month.
Yeah.
And people pay it with no problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's an interesting, interesting dynamic of what we're dealing with now.
Trying to navigate,
But I think that it's good that you have an understanding that, hey man, I'm kind of like an old school artist. Mm-hmm. Like I'm still, albums still matter to me.
Yeah. I'm still trying to make off the wall, man. Like
yeah. I mean, yeah, but that's important. You know what I mean? It's important for people to understand that when you get this is what you're getting. Like this, I'm not trying to like when you said 2004 or 5 when you stopped, to 2006 around then. Either that was the exact time or right around the ringtone rap era when people was trying to make a ringtone.
Crank That was the shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and at that time, you probably would have still been like, yeah, bro, I'm trying to make an album. I'm not really focused on a ringtone, man. Like, I mean, if you want to make this your ringtone, that's on you, but I'm not going in the studio saying,
I was still watching Ye, what Ye was doing. Like, I want to make College Dropout back then. You know what I'm saying?
Let's make a ringtone.
Yeah.
So now it's like, I'm not trying to make a song that is the TikTok trend dance thing.
Right.
But it's important for you and people to know that. Like, that's what I'm on now. Speaking of the album, do you have, and this ain't even a good question, but I'm gonna ask it because it's too late. Do you have a favorite song on that? Because it's not a good question because it's yours. You can't ask somebody who made it what their favorite is. Yeah. But I did it. I just did it. I did it. I doubled down. I did it 3 times.
Man, because it's different vibe. I love "Pinch Me, I'm Dreaming" with Marcus.
Yeah.
It's another one of those songs where, again, when you listen to the whole thing, it's a story. Yeah. The way it's produced, the way it's arranged, that shit is beautiful. It's a beautiful song. I love that. I love "Vallegro" with Ye. Because it builds up. It builds up. Because there's no drums. Thank you, man.
Yeah, and let me rephrase this. I don't even mean what's your favorite song.
Yeah.
It's almost like, scratch all that. You said, "Pinch Me, I'm Dreaming." Mm-hmm. I'll be wanting to hear the stories about how these songs came about. So the real reason I was asking what your favorite song was, because I was trying to get some stories about how these songs came apart or came together.
Yeah.
So I was just waiting for you to say a song so I could ask you how it came together.
Yeah, but that's a beat that I had, and I sent it to a couple people. Because one thing, every rapper doesn't rap at the same. They feel comfortable in different pockets. Mm-hmm. Marcus is comfortable in that pocket. Yeah. And I sent it to him.
Marcus got a dope voice.
Yeah.
He got like a perfect rapper voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. And I didn't have any idea. I just sent it to him. And then he has this whole thing with Janisha and Mari, and this whole story of he's telling his story, and then there's the alarm clock going and all that. I didn't know none of that was going to happen. Yeah. And I was I'm blown away. Because I love when people do things I wouldn't. I always get amazed by people who do shit I never thought of. My mind was not there at all. But then when I hear the beat, it sounds like a dream. And then shout outs to Colt, man, my engineer. Colt did an amazing job helping get the sound where it needed to be, so you hear the echo in it and on the snare, and we really got that dreamy kind of state. So that's how that came about. But that's one of my favorites for sure. But yeah, everybody on the album. Shout out to everybody too, like Mr. Fab. Fab has showed me so much love.
Hold on, stay there, Mr. Fab, because you also did you fully produce Mr. Fab's album?
Yeah, I did everything except 2. Shout out to Bryce. Bryce did too. It's funny because the reason why Bryce ended up on the album is because me and Bryce have a similar sound, and the folder that Fab had, 2 of his beats was in there, and he thought I did all of them. I was like, nah, I didn't do those 2, but I'm not tripping. Like, Bryce is my man, and I'm not greedy about it. Like, yeah, keep that shit on there, and shit was fire. So
yeah.
That was amazing because I got some, I like Smoke Dizza. I'm a big Smoke Dizza fan. Dizza was on the album too.
Yeah,
Fab, and you really hearing Fab get into his real. Because Fab is a rapper. Like, people don't always know that about him because he's, he writes a lot of hits and back from the hyphy shit, but no, Fab raps for real. And so I'm glad I was able to inspire him to get into that bag. But yeah, me and Fab got some shit too that's not even out. Like, that's still in the vault. So, El Camino, shouts to El Camino from BSF, Griselda. I hit him about a hook. Made that happen. That shit came back amazing. And then, of course, like Stained Glass, which is me, Ye, and Marcus. So our collective, the shit was amazing. Johnny set the album off. Shouts to Johnny. That's my man on the hook on episode 622. Me and Felix went crazy back-to-back Pauls on Vinny Jr. That's the song that I loved. I love Vinny Jr. Vinny Jr., I'm a big soccer fan. That's another, a thing that I've really become a big fan over the last couple of years. I'm a Real Madrid fan, Los Blancos. So if you hear that hook, people might not be like, what is this nigga talking about? Because
I was niggas saying, what is this nigga talking about?
Yeah, I was like, me and Felix, they calling us Galacticos. So Galacticos is the era that Real Madrid is a lot of superstars, like when they had David Beckham and shit.
Yeah, everybody know that.
So like,
so
it's superstars like David Beckham, superstar. So me and Felix, they calling us Galacticos. Call our Air Ones Los Blancos. So Los Blancos is what Real Madrid's called. They were all white. So white and white Air Force Ones. Call our Air Ones Los Blancos. Loyal to the squad. Call us Nacho. Nacho was a player for Real Madrid who's been on Real Madrid since his junior league days. So his only team he's ever been on was Real Madrid.
And that's Nacho.
That's Nacho.
Okay. I was thinking chips and cheese.
Yeah.
Pico de Gallo.
And so the whole thing is just, and then Vinny Jr. is a current player.
I know Vinny Jr.
So Vinicius, shouts to Vinny. He's on, one of the best players in the world. So that's what that was about. So it's fun having songs like that where you just don't make it about something, but use it as a muse.
You got references and it's Easter eggs and people.
Yeah.
It's always dope when you hear something and you say, oh, I didn't catch that. Oh, that's what that means. Yeah. You might not catch that till 4 months after you heard the song.
That's the Wu-Tang fan in me, because if you just listen to like Wu-Tang Forever, you can like the songs on the surface, but when you really understand like 5% and God body shit and what you study the 120 and oh, that whole hook is just a lesson from the 120 and you understand what culture cipher and God cipher divine and all that, what that shit really means and what RZA really means, and it makes that shit even iller. Like you like, oh, that shit is really some next shit. Like,
no, it is next level.
So that's that's kind of the shit. And that's why I think me and Marcus and Gay work really great together because we all think like that.
Oh, no.
we think like that. We always nothing we do. And if there's something on the album that you don't understand, there's a reason why I said it.
Yeah,
it means something. It's all because I love that kind of shit. Like Game of Thrones, like my favorite show. When you watch Game of Thrones. Nah, all that shit means something. It might not mean something this season. It might not mean nothing for 3 seasons, but it means something. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I write. That's how I produce. Because I like that. That shit is dope to me.
Even that Starbucks cup. What season was that?
Besides season 8.
Season 8 don't mean nothing?
Fuck season 8.
Oh, season 8 was bad?
Fuck season 8.
Okay.
But season 1 through 7, I defend season 7. But
a lot of people don't even rock with 7.
Yeah, people put 7 to 8 together. I'll separate them. I see why, but I feel like they didn't totally jump the shark on season 7. Yeah.
Okay,
there were some great moments there.
This is the last question, but it's 2 parts.
Yeah.
Number 1, do you enjoy producing or rapping more, or is it the same, or is it just different? And part 2, what is it, if one thing or a couple things, that you want people to really take from Faris 2?
So producing is number 1.
Okay.
I wouldn't let somebody write my rap before they can make a beat for me.
Okay.
And I wouldn't never let you write my rap. But that's how Brix, you was spinning, nigga. Thanks for you like my verse, nigga. What do you think of the beat? The beat's number one for me. Not even close. And it's funny though, I'll say this. This might sound weird, but I will put it production, performing, then rapping.
Yeah, I mean, live performance is something.
I love
unless you've done it, it's hard to explain it.
Yeah,
because it's instant.
And I didn't know I would love it that much because again, I'm a producer naturally. I'm not naturally the.
Yeah.
But being on stage is different from that. Shit is different. That shit is fun,
you in the
man.
studio and you make something, only the people in the studio you get their feedback.
Mm-hmm.
But when you live on stage, you know exactly how the people feel about this.
Good or bad,
so,
yeah, that's a fact. So that's how I would actually rank.
Why are these tomatoes on my shirt? Because you suck, dog.
Get hit with your CD too. Shouts to Cannabis.
Yeah.
And then people take from the album. To be be creative. Like don't be fearless. Like don't let nobody like. So for instance, right? Like you see, like the horses. Like that's a big thing with me, right? When I was younger, right, I would like you go to the library and shit and check out books as a kid.
I've never done such a thing, but I know people
did
that.
Like in fourth grade, like in class, like your whole class could get in the line. Y'all gotta walk to the library. Like, well,
I mean, I've heard that kids do that.
You've heard tall tales about it.
Yeah.
I would check out horse books. And like niggas be like, why you got a horse book? Because I fucking love horses, and it's easy for kids to let peer pressure talk them out of shit they like. Mm-hmm. I never did. 'Cause I always knew what I liked was the fly shit. I always felt like that. I always knew that. So I didn't give a fuck what you fucking dirty ass niggas think. Like this is what's dope to me. Even with music, right? Like I always felt like sometimes I had like a different taste with music than what other people was listening to around me. But I stuck to what I fucking like. I'm not about to change because of what y'all niggas is doing. And I apply that to my music. So like what a lot of producers, especially sample producers, right? Like I love the sample. That's my bag. I didn't just go to the regular soul samples because it's been so picked over and regular. Like, nah, I'm records from Brazil, from the Netherlands, from wherever. Like, I'm really searching and digging to try to find something new that no one else has messed with before. Mm-hmm. I've always, like I said, if you want to put a horse on the cover of your album, man, do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, stay true to who you are. And because like I said, it sounds cliche, but it's really true, though, because there's a bunch of niggas doing the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, bro, like, I'm not about to just make go hit the same graphic designer that does all these other niggas' album covers and put a picture of me doing some dumb shit or make a video with me with 100 niggas behind me doing a bunch of nothing. Like, no, we're going to make a story. I'm going to call Natho and we're going to make a story. We're going to make some art. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what this is. It's art. And that's my approach to it. So be fearless, be creative. Don't do the basic, man. I say it on every album, up to taste level. That's what I mean, up to taste level, dog. Like, we're not doing basic shit no more. That shit is out. Well, I never did basic shit. Honestly, I'm going to keep that shit solid. I never did basic shit, and I never will. So I want everybody to just be elevated in whatever you're doing. Like,
that's something good to take from the album. Check this out, man. BrixxIsKing, Faris 2. Download it, stream it. Is that the only place? What did they get it now?
It's everywhere. Yeah, man. Apple's. Yeah, I mean, yeah. All the DSPs, YouTube, TikTok.
Because I still hear people they album that they be like, yo, go get that. And it's like, what you mean, go get it? Like, just type it in on my. Like, is there another way I'm supposed to go get this? Yeah. Mr. Album Dropper, sir. But yeah, Faris 2, man. BrixxIsKing, y'all.
September 27th.
September 27th, man. Y'all stream it, download it, share it. That's the thing you do. Share with somebody else.
And this is a huge influence on me. Like, again, like I've told this nigga this, like, Lance, watching his process and him grow and become the fucking man, like, that's an understatement. Has influenced me on how I need to move. There have been times where I'm like, okay, I'm probably doing this show tonight, but I'm doing it. I remember on his come up, like, nah, I gotta go do the touch. I gotta go do, was that Boston's Lounge or whatever. Like,
it's crazy out here,
like,
people
doing it. Like, after just coming back from fucking Japan, and he's right back at it. Like, that's, and that's the approach. That's the approach that I have. Like, I've seen my nigga do it up close, and I gotta do the same shit.
Hey man, I appreciate you, but that's the process. That's the work. When you find something that you say you want to do, it's not glamorous. You gotta go do it. Like, it's not. People only see the glamorous stuff. They don't see All the stuff that's gonna get you successful, none of it looks cool.
None of it.
None of it looks cool. So
Making beats look stupid.
Yeah, they see you in the studio with like the fun. That's what you put on video.
Right.
The real of it is not.
When that shit don't loop right and you sitting there.
Yeah, it's a stressful process. So, hey man, September 27th, y'all go stream that. Faris 2. And like I said, share with somebody else. Don't just listen to it. Don't be selfish. After you hear it, put it on, put somebody else onto it. And then somebody else put somebody else. That's how I grow. Each one teach one. That's how we reach one. Is that the same?
Sounds good to me.
All right, cool. There it is. Lance Woods, BrixxIsKing. Yes, sir. Only gold medals.